TrekWars, Duels Across the Stars. Episode 24. Trials and Tribulations. Top 5 Family Moments.
There is unrest in the Skywalker family. After losing his hand to his father and sinister Sith Lord Darth Vader, Luke joins his sister to organise a reunion. In a stunning move, Star Wars' bitter rival Star Trek tries to take advantage of the internal conflict. But after the disappearance of Michael Burnham, Spock has become more estranged from his father Sarek. Can they get along? Can they work out their differences and team up to ensure the franchise will win the day? Hello, welcome to episode 24. I am one of your hosts, Ben, and my other host or co-host is
Olympus. Great to be back in for another episode of TrekWars Duels Across the Stars. I cannot believe we're on 24 episodes now. I
nearly
can
quarter of a century.
nearly. And it feels like it was only yesterday.
It does. Yeah, I'm glad we're still doing it. So
Absolutely. I
it's
have
like,
so much fun doing these.
definitely. So just like families, we have fun all the time.
Yes, we do. And unlike families, we don't have all the trials and tribulations that come with it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about family moments here, which actually in both franchises it is very popular. The family thing, especially Star Wars, where the Skywalker saga rules supreme. Um, but yeah, as we've mentioned, there is another. There is the first family of Star Trek, which is Sarek's family. Okay, some people may disagree with my comment on their first family, and if you do, please put your first family in the comments and any other your rankings of your top 5 family moments. We do this just to have a bit of fun, talk about Star Trek and Star Wars and our favourite parts of it. With this, we usually make our own little criteria of our best, well, not of our best moments, to help us pick our 5 best moments. So we don't necessarily keep to the same criteria, and which is why we'll find out now what our rules and regs are for our picks. So unless you have anything to say, Olympus, if you do, please do it first, and then spin off your top 4, your rules and regulations.
Not at all, not at all. So, I don't really have much at all to this. My key one is that the term family does not just apply to biological family. It could be anything that I determine family as being like a very, very close community or close friendship, that spanning time, and they have that. It's difficult to describe without using the word family, but that family vibe to them. So I've opened up my choices that way. And beyond that, I have no other rules. I've kept it nice and short and sweet this week. How about you, Ben?
I think we're going to vary a little bit on this one, actually, because I did think about doing just families as a group of individuals that are like families, but no, I decided to actually go with families as in relations, not necessarily biological, but families together. So however that works out, so that could be adopted. And for me, families is more than just 2 people, especially as we've done uh, top 5 mothers, top 5 fathers um, in this. So I wanted to go where it involved more than 2 people. So a minimum of 3 people in my pick have to be appearing from that family in that family moment.
Makes
So
sense. That makes sense. And Ben, do we share our picks with each other ahead of these recordings?
definitely not. Definitely not. So we probably can get to the stage where we can start to guess at each other's picks, which probably means I need to revamp some of my picks so we don't. But
Very possibly. I
oh,
think I think the way I've gone with this week's, I don't think you'll guess most of them.
yeah,
You'll
I
guess at
don't.
least one, maybe two, but not all five.
Oh, fair. No, fair enough. Actually, I probably should write a couple down now while I'm thinking it. But that's like, while you do that, what is your number five pick for family moments?
So I'm gonna start off with a curveball that you probably won't expect from me. I'm gonna take us to Discovery, to the episode Forget Me Not. So the crew have been propelled hundreds of years into the future. They're in a bit of disarray. They're a bit disjointed. Not the happiest they've ever been, struggling with coming to terms with this new reality that they're facing themselves in. And Saru, being the uniting, comforting presence that he is, decides that a big get together dinner for the bridge crew is what's needed. So he gathers them all up, takes them through to what I think is the meeting room. I've forgotten the name of it now. Observation room. Ah, it's gone out of my head. Never mind. But he's taken them to that room. Big spread of food all dished out, and they're all sitting around like a big happy family. There's some nice jovial smiles and some catching up and whatnot, and then it quickly starts to dissolve, and you get a lot of the disgruntled tensions and little snips and snipes, and even at one point a bit of a very awkward silence. All the things that you naturally get in a big family get together. And I just love how that all kind of came together and was realized in that way. And as much as it didn't quite go the way that Saru had planned it to, ultimately it did exactly what he had planned it to do, which I thought was beautiful as well.
When you started this, I was thinking you were on about the bit towards the end of this
Ah,
episode where there was the
see?
cinema going on and the movie. I forgot what is it, Buster Keaton? I can't remember
Oh,
if
I
it
can't remember what
involved
movie
him,
it was now, actually, no.
but I think it may have involved him. I can't remember exactly. But I was thinking you'd go there, and then yeah, oh yeah, there's that awkward discussion at the beginning at the table. Yeah,
It
your
was it was a
typical.
traditional, typical family dinner. That's what I loved
Yeah,
about it.
oh,
It just that's why I think family moment every time that one.
anyway, which yeah, it feels definitely feels family, and they were definitely a family at that ship, especially in that situation.
Oh yeah, by that point they had to gel themselves together to survive that way. They'd gone through everything with Lorca in season one, everything with Pike in season two. All made that commitment to go together into the unknown. But by this point, there's no doubt that they're a family.
Yeah, and they worked it out as well. So
They did
that's
indeed.
good.
So yeah, that's my number five pick. Ben, what's your number five?
My one, I am going to the Attack of the Clones in Star Wars. Yeah, and I am going to Camino, where there was lots and lots and lots of brothers. Basically,
True, true.
a clone army from the same genetic material of Jango Fett, and that is including even Boba Fett, to be honest, and all his twin brothers. In theory, yeah, identical twin brothers. So it's I just like it. There's some of them that do get on, some of them that probably don't, and some of them know each other more better than others. But that scene in there, going and meeting them and seeing them all get educated, have dinner, march, prep things, so, was amazing and so enjoyable. And it was just like, yeah, it. They, I suppose, they did in ways. Some of them did become family
Mm.
in the end, uh, in the respect of their, as in your disco comments there, they became friends together. So, but in my case, it was just a case of they are literally all biological brothers, and it's everything about seeing that and Camino and the cloning idea of mass producing an army is amazing to me, and I loved it.
And if you watch the Clone Wars, you really do get more of that sense of family, more traditional sense of family coming in as you see more and more of the different clones and the different units, because you get a few episodes that do directly sort of focus in on the certain clones, and you get to see how close they are with their brothers. They call each other brother. So if you've seen all of that, it adds to what you're talking about there quite a lot. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I do not disagree.
No, and I had to do it. It just came to mind. I went, yeah, they're brothers, definitely. So that I don't have much more to say of it because most of it is literally on the uh you were seeing them at Camino and them all being clones. And yeah, as you said, they are as everywhere from what you see in the Clone Wars to a Bad Batch and so on and so forth. So yeah, to be honest, that's one of the ones where I have less to say about. So, what is your number 4 pick?
I'm going to take you back to Star Trek. And we're going to go to Riker and Troy's wedding in Nemesis, the entire wedding. I just thought it was so beautifully done. You've got the family situation of Riker and Troy actually getting married, all the people that they love being around them, so their crew being so close together. The captain, Captain Picard, giving an absolutely beautiful speech. He's so eloquent with his words, Patrick Stewart. You know, it's just it was always going to be great. And then Data's glorious rendition of Irvin Berlin's Blue Skies, which became a bit of Data's what to call it theme song from that point on. I think we get to hear it again in a different format
Hard, yeah.
in Picard season 1, which was very beautiful. Actually, it was the actress who plays Soji. Not
Oh yes, she
yes,
sang
it
it.
is.
Oh yes,
She sings it. Yeah. Um. So yes, no, it was just a beautiful scene all round. Seeing the whole crew together, enjoying that happy occasion, knowing already from the previous TNG movies and episodes just how much of a close knit family they are. It was just very lovely on so many
and
levels.
you also had somebody's son reappear in that
Yes,
as well.
very interesting. A traveler returning up just for the sake of a wedding. Um,
Oh, why not? Why not?
indeed, indeed. You know, time does not have the same meaning to him anymore, I guess.
I can't remember, but I have a feeling Guinan might have been in the crowd. I think. I don't think we get to see her
She
say anything.
might. She might have been. She might have been. I'm gonna have to look back on that now. I can't remember.
Who
I love the
definitely
dress
became
uniforms as well. Those white dress uniforms are lovely.
oh, they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Those, um, and it is a complete different uniform than probably what we would have seen if they were doing their wedding on Sir Beta Z. So
Yes, as in the uniform would have been non-existent.
correct. But after they've all gone to the gym and made out, or at least Picard did.
Oh, I've just remembered
So
that scene there where it says, "Right, number one, you have the bridge. I'm going to the gym."
it was. No, I love that. And actually, my number 4 pick does involve that character, Picard.
Ooh,
Um, it does involve his family, or maybe it's not his family. It definitely isn't his family. And this is from The Inner Light, where
oh yeah.
he played through a family that was from a planet that had uh, basically uh, climate change to the extreme happen on it. and he was meant to be got made to believe that he was one of the civilians of that planet. And he grew up, got with his wife, had children, boys and girls. Um, and the scene I'm thinking of is right at the end. We're seeing a rocket where they go to see a rocket go off, which is the rocket with this information about that he's been playing through for quite a few years now, or shall we say, quite a few decades. Where he walks out with his daughter, and he goes to sit down. And the third person in this, his grandson gets mentioned, going for her to go and hold his grandson. So this is how I managed to get this in. Uh, was the three people uh, involved, um, and and then that's where the big reveal is. Is like his friend appears in the age that he was when he first met him, and they have this discussion of this is the story of this planet, which hopefully is not going to be Earth one day. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it was a good. I say a good story. It is rated one of the best episodes in Star Trek ever. Well, I'm not going to argue with that, but we'll maybe one day find out whether it's in my top five. But that's the story.
I'm I'm not going to argue with that either. And again, we'll need to see if it does reach a top five of a certain topic to come at some point in the future. I am sure. The only thing I'm going to add to this is a little fun fact. Did you know that the actor who plays Picard's alien version son is Patrick Stewart's son?
I cannot remember, but I'm going to say I may have heard that fact before, but I didn't
You don't
actually.
look surprised, so you've probably heard it from
Yeah,
somewhere. But there you go. For
yeah.
anyone who didn't know, that's Patrick Stewart's son.
No, I did see one of the scenes with him involved early, and I was debating whether to put that moment in where he decided he wanted to be a musician instead of a scientist.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
Lovely.
no, it is an interesting fact. Oh, love the episode. It is very emotional as well. Like many Star Trek episodes, it has a meaning to it and is entertaining at the same time. So.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is. My next pick is there's a little bit of entertainment to it, but it actually hits home at a very emotional level as well. And this is in the Next Generation episode Family, which comes directly after the Best of Both Worlds parts 1 and 2. And there's so many scenes that I could have picked from this episode. By the title Family, it's all to do with that theme of family. But the one I'm going to pick is the one where Picard finally lets go and realizes and admits everything that's happened and he wasn't in control and how he's actually feeling to his brother Robert. And that's after a very entertaining squabble and fight in the mud, which is
Yeah.
such a lovely brotherly thing to witness. And they both very clearly needed it because throughout the episode, the tension between the two of them had been building and building and building. Robert with his resentment for Picard leaving to go join Starfleet and fly across the stars and leave Robert managing the farm and the business, not the farm, the not a farm. It's a it's
It's
a
the vineyard.
vineyard.
Oh,
Vineyard. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, leaving him to manage the vineyard
I don't
and
know if it's necessarily him going to do that. It's just him not getting involved in the family or doing what he is. Robert thinks that he should
it's the
do as a
fact that
family member.
he isn't ever there. I think that's the thing. It's the fact he's never there. He in Robert's eyes, he'd abandoned them for whatever it was he was going off to do, which was join Starfleet.
True. Actually, yeah,
Um,
that yeah,
so
yeah.
I totally get where you're coming from. And yeah, some of that came out, but the biggest part of the realization of that scene was Picard being a younger brother. He is younger than Robert. I hope I'm getting this right now.
I
Um,
think that's correct. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, damn, I should have done my research, but um, it's just that brotherly connection that he's got there, and he finally realizes it, and he confides in his brother at a very, very personal level, and that to me just screams mammoth family moment. And to get to see that from Picard, who's a character up until that point that's been quite stoic, who hasn't um, who hasn't shared much about his personal life, who's kept his distance from his crew and therefore from us as a viewer in terms of his personal life, his personal situation, his likes, his dislikes, his family dynamics. You're only just starting to learn about this stuff now, which makes very interesting and also very, very emotional when you consider what he's just gone through.
Yeah, no, very true. And okay, without the family trauma bit, I can imagine me and my brother being like those two Picard and well, they're both Picards, but Jean Luc and Robert. Yeah, I can I can see me and my brother doing that, and then going up and covered in mud, having a drink afterwards. But yeah, it's yeah, definitely more thoughts. And yeah, another well-rated episode that's not necessarily my favorite, but is another
It is one of the
well-established
best for
episode for good
TNG.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To go ever so slightly off topic because we love a digression. Episodes like The Inner Light, Family, Best of Both Worlds, and All Good Things, like they're up there in terms of next generation tiered episodes for me. Brilliant Star Trek storytelling.
yeah, no, definitely. Oh, and half of me wants to have like a top five Star Trek and a top five Star Wars episode, or even like a top 50. I would be happily spend years thinking about that one. So, oh no, enjoyed that.
Good. Right, over to your number
So,
three.
oh, shall we talk about real life, or would it be just fantasy?
I had to get
So,
a Queen reference in
maybe.
there somewhere.
Oh, definitely. No, definitely. And real life is the name of an episode in Star Trek Voyager. So, um, actually, we need an episode called "Is It Just Fantasy?"
We do.
Maybe for lower decks. I think I can see that happening in lower decks. So, anyway, digression. Um, this is about the family of the Doctor, or the EMH Mark One for Voyager. So
Oh, this
this is
episode.
yeah, this is where he decides to get a family. Um, I've decided to make it. I like two moments in this. One because the last part's very sad, and the other part, which I'll start off with, is where you first meet his family, and it's a very typical 1960s TV programs fix a thing where you have the children and the wife lining up at the door and wishing their dad good luck for work and the rest of his day, and it's like having a bitter argument over who wants to say goodbye to dad first and such like, and looking very perfect the 1960s 50s style outfits there. And then there's the other one where, after a conversation and a meal with Balana, Torres says, "This is not real family. This is definitely fantasy." Um, and you have the ending where the daughter passes away after, and also the Doctor being estranged from his son for a bit, who is the typical heavy rocker emo type son. And but I shouldn't laugh about a very sad scene. It was her passing away. That it's like really one of the moments where the Doctor felt like a real person, and it's like these things you have to learn how the bad things in life is like what makes you, and you have to learn how to adapt and get over these things. I'm not necessarily get over them, but live with these things. I rephrase that: live with these things. Um, and that's the lesson. It's like I think all of us would like to go past and go, I want to get rid of that part of my life, that part of my life, and that thing I've done. Me definitely, but that would not make me me. And it's the same. And in the same, it was it was a sad situation and a good learning process. And actually, the thing this is I say about me changing the things actually changing family sometimes, of course, especially when even occasionally now, it's like, why do I want to? Do I really want these people as family? Actually, yes, I do. Even through the hard times,
Hmm.
that's made me what I am today. Um, Luckily, I'm pretty good with my family. I know some people haven't, and have had issues, but yeah, it's anyway. Cheerful note. Sorry, change the subject. I'm getting on a bit of a Debbie Downer here, but it that episode still has a lot to talk about. Again, Star Trek being Star Trek, and
It covers
still,
a lot, and it's difficult to talk about that episode, and not talk about that big sort of a very tragic event, because that very much defines and brings the Doctor to the realization of the fact that everything isn't always perfect, and sometimes bad things happen and it crushes you, and as you say, you have to learn to continue living after things like that happen, and it's a very hard truth to witness and learn. um and yeah, I think they delivered that really, really well in this episode. And there are, again, so many scenes throughout this episode, where you get the sort of family theme sort of striking through, because again, it's all to do with the Doctor experiencing a family for the first time, isn't it? So it's they just deliver it beautifully. There's some heartbreaking parts, of course, but there's some really funny bits. There's some very relatable pieces. There's elements that I can see watching that, and me being a young dad looking at that, going, "Oh my word, I hope that never happens to me." With the rebellious emo child out rebelling against everything he can find. I'm just like, oh no, all the fun to come. Um,
yeah,
yeah, brilliant
agree,
episode.
agreed. And yeah, it okay. I haven't got the children, but I've got a nephew, and it's
Yes, you
like, yeah,
do.
imagine, imagine what that will be like if he ever gets like gets like that. So that'll be
It'll
interesting.
be over to fun Uncle Ben.
Yeah, it's like, "Ben, can you have him? Come on, take him away. I want a break." It's like, oh, thank you very much. Okay.
You can
No,
channel his
no.
rebellion into Star Trek adventures.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
That's the way
No,
to do it.
yeah, no. I was going to say it's like at least I can pass him back at the end of the day, but no, he's sweet as anything, even if he's being a terrible two at occasionally, or grumpy little 2-year old. So sweet as anything. Anyway,
Lovely. It's
so
my number two now, isn't it?
it is. Just
You.
realised I've pointed in two directions for you. I don't know which side you. I
Um,
pointed that way once. I passed that way another one. Who knows?
it was the first one.
Ah, that one.
That's the one. That's where I am.
Yeah.
Um, my second in my list of top five, and you're going to be catching a theme here. I'm back to Star Trek. And a TNG related series, Picard. The finale, in fact, The Last Generation. Everything they've gone through the series, culminating in that final episode beautifully. Um, and the one scene in particular I want to talk about, and it explores family. You know what's coming. It explores family in two different ways at the same time, and that's the scene where they all traipse into the holodeck bar. I believe it's the holodeck 10 forward from Earth, and sit around a table and play some poker. and you've got the themes song for TNG playing as the camera pans from above in a slow spiral as they're all laughing and joking and playing poker, in a very similar way to what they did at the end of The Next Generation. And I say it's two-pronged because you get to see the characters all together again, enjoying time together, being that family that they always have been. After all that time's passed and after all that time has changed them, they are still at their core who they were, and have that familial love for each other. But also the other side of it is that cast who love each other dearly and enjoyed filming all of the TNG episodes and movies together the way that they did, getting to spend that time together too. And that's because that scene where they're playing poker is actually a scene of them just sitting together playing poker. It was not a case of act as Jean-Luc Picard, act as William Riker. It was, here's a deck of cards and a table, we're all going to leave and let the camera roll, and you guys just have some fun for 40 minutes. And so all the conversation and laughter that you can hear in the background is real conversation and real laughter. So you get that two-level split there, which always hits home very nicely for me. I absolutely love that scene.
No, definitely, yeah. I had a couple of family moment ideas in that season. Uh, yeah, one where Jax and John Luke's talking to each other at the bar and on same kind of thing. You had a couple other people in there who turned up and decided to have a drink themselves, and then also there was another one actually involving Geordie and his two daughters, and again one of them was actually LeVar Burton's actual daughter as well. So
Yeah.
uh, it was, yeah. I suppose they were trying to go for the nostalgia things in this one as well. As like they're our family, everything's family, and bad and good with that season there. Despite the yeah the arguments and such stuff, and nearly killing us all.
Yeah, aside from that.
Uh, yeah. So no, on a more cheerful note, yeah, no, love that pick. And any scene where they're playing poker together, with or without, even without John Nick, is all great fun. So,
Absolutely. What's your number two?
oh, I am staying with Star Trek, but I'm going to a different series. I am going to the Dogs of War, I believe, if I've looked up the episode right, because uh, and that is Rom becoming the Grand Nagus.
Yeah.
Um, Cork believes he get a garbled message saying, "Oh, you've become Grand Nagus." He thinks it's about him, but it was to Rom. Grand Nagus comes into Cork's bar to pass the thing and passes it over to Rom. You have Nog there as well, who almost like congratulations him and actually becomes his assistant almost. And it's just like when it comes to certain people, it's like if you want to talk to him, you'll have to come through me. And he's being the so like good friend, good father, son as well to help with him. You
Yes.
have Nog's newish wife, Lita there as well. Um, you have yeah, and yeah, it's them working all to get together, even if Cork is going. This is not my Ferengi Ferengi uh, establishment. Oh, my establishment will stay the old way. I will uh, fix the Darbo wheel and or the typical friendly Ferengi staff. Um, it, you don't have to be perfect they get along with each other all the time. You can have opposite opinions, which is Rom and Cork, and have other pros and cons uh, stuff, and you can have not necessarily the same family he started off with as in wives in this compliment in this situation, or mothers in this situation. So um and yeah, and a very enjoyable moment. It's that's an episode and situation that's grown on me over the years, with Ron becoming the Grand Nagus.
Did not expect that scene actually to come in, and what a beautiful scene it was. I'm so glad you picked it. I don't really have very much more to say. You've covered it off lovely.
And I realised I've got a step granddad, a stepdad as well, as in the Grand Negazek, as well as Cork and Rom's stepdad, and Moogie as well, which I forgot to
Indeed.
mention in this as well. So
It's a whole
yeah,
big
three
family
generations.
reunion.
It is. Sorry, yeah. What do you have any more to say there?
Pretty much nothing else. That covers it off nicely.
No. And yeah, I had to have those three characters in. It's like Nog was definitely in the first episode that throwaway character, uh, um, and Rom even more so in that first episode uh, that they appeared in DS9, and by the end they were
Integral.
near as damn it essential characters, and one's even had a class ship named after him, and his character had the ship named after him.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway, shall we round up with our number ones?
Indeed. So I'm gonna go to one of my all-time favorite scenes in Star Trek. And this is Ben suddenly going, hang on, that's not a single Star Wars pick. I know, I think that's the first time I've ever done this where I've not had a single Star Wars pick. But yeah, there are loads, by the way, I will preface by saying there are loads of lovely family moments throughout the Star Wars sagas. Just none of them made my top five.
I was
Um,
just I was still thinking something along the lines that you were a brother to me, and
you were
so
the
so and
chosen
so.
one. You were my
Um,
brother, Anakin. I loved you.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, that was just too heartbreaking to put in, to be honest. But yes, this is one of my all-time favorite scenes from Star Trek, and we're gonna go to the Next Generation's All Good Things, the very last scene. Again, this feels like I'm duplicating here, but it just this beats the Picard scene for me. You have the crew around the table in Riker's quarters, I believe, because they go there often to play poker. So they're sat there playing poker, talking about all the things that Picard's just told them about what's happened through that episode, because they don't remember any of it. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. Only Picard remembers. And they're talking about the what ifs this, what ifs that, and they're sort of tying up nice little loose ends between each other. Worf and Riker, who had a bit of aggro going on through the episode, make conscious note that they'll make sure that they're better than what their alternate selves did. And it's starting to round off all nicely, and just that pied de resistance is when Picard walks into the room for the first time ever. He's never joined them for poker before. Again, he's always kept this sort of line between him and the rest of the crew, rightly or wrongly. And he's accepted through what he's experienced in that last episode that he has to take that wall down. So he walks in, asks if he can join them. They're very surprised. They let him sit down. And he reflects before they kick off that he should have done this a long time ago, very warmly. And I think it's Diana who says he was always welcome. It was either her or Crusher. I think it was Diana.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it was.
and again, one I don't have the quote in front of me, so I'm probably going to misquote this, but one of the best quotes from Picard as well, when he's dishing out the cards, telling them the rules, aces wild or whatever it was, but the key bit, the sky's the limit. last line in Star Trek: The Next Generation, and it's just that the sky's the limit just brings everything together beautifully, defining what they're doing, what they're going off to continue doing. It's the end, but it's not the end.
Yeah.
That continuation of
More to
humanity
come.
bettering themselves, more to come, hope on the horizon, all the good Star Trek themes and messages that they pull forward in those 4 little words.
Yeah.
Warms me up every
And
time.
yeah, and you can tell he's not necessarily a first-time person at playing poker. It's either that or he's read the book very well, that he knows all the little things. But after his incidents with the Nausicaans, I think he's played a hand or two of poker.
I expect so. He doesn't want to get stabbed in the heart again.
No, definitely not. And yeah, um, yeah, no, great scene. I can't really add much more to that, to be honest.
In
So,
that case, over to your number 1.
and I'm going to include at least one person from that scene, and that is Wolf. So, this involves family and Wolf, which is a weird conversation for number
Yeah,
one.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
He's not got a
so
great
am
track
I.
record.
No, but this is the time where it was actually pretty good, in my opinion. And you are cordially invited to put your opinions in the comment section.
I'll get my laptop.
So,
Oh, not my laptop. I'll get my keyboard at the ready.
yeah. Um, so, yeah, if you haven't guessed, this is from your cordially invited. Werewolf gets married to Jadzia Dax.
Had to be.
And, yeah, it's there's 2 groups of families here. Oh, actually, there's 3 groups of families. One of them being the 3 Frankies that I've mentioned earlier, who are guests to the wedding. Um, and Lita, and so I should include her as well in that one.
Yep.
Um, but I didn't see. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was about to say I didn't see Keiko O'Brien in the scene, but Miles was definitely there. Um, but you have the wedding of Wolf there with his son, who gives him and Judge Sia the bat lifts as part of the ceremony there. And you also have Jadzia Dax becoming part of the House of Mortok and being told by Mortok's wife that she's the daughter, part of the daughter now of the house, and to her. And yeah, it is part of the bigger House of Mortok family as well, which is basically the Klingon family, extended family as well. I mean, almost Romanesque in style, where you have people brought into the family or uh, and almost adopted into the family to say to part of that. And it was a lovely episode. Them almost breaking up. Actually, almost like Data's Day with Miles and Keiko, as mentioned before. So almost breaking up, but in a different way. But it's all about the family, and in this again, it's joyful, it's party-esque, it's doing it for the love of that, and you are accepting other family members for what they are, whether that's again Garon, not Garon, Martok's wife, and Jadzia and Worf, um, and probably a hell of a lot more in that as well. Um, and I do love a good marriage wedding ceremony. Any thoughts on that?
None apart from it was nearly my number 5. It got knocked off by
Oh
Saru's
wow!
family dinner, so it's in my honourable mentions. So we almost had a
Thinking,
duplicate this episode. Almost.
oh, we did, because actually thinking about it, I was thinking about family, but I was gonna go with fight, literally the fight scene in that. So that was another one I was considered. So
There you
actually,
go.
that's about honourable mentions. While we're talking about them, Any
Yes,
things that?
so two that you've already mentioned. One, in fact, both the ones that you picked, the inner light. Um, and again, there's multiple scenes I could have picked. I ended up just writing the inner light down, but I was probably leaning towards one of the scenes between Picard and his son, and Worf and Jadzia's wedding for exactly everything you've just gone through. I also have multitudinous scenes through the Bad Batch, especially in the later seasons as they've grown closer together and their relationship with Omega has really grown. And Rebels is the other one. And again, there's so many different elements you could take to this, but there's so much family elements within Rebels, but that crew themselves coming together nicely again is just lovely, absolutely lovely. So yeah, they summarize my honorable mentions. There's too many scenes I could have chosen from Rebels or Bad Batch that just couldn't get in, which probably would have taken over from at least the Saru's family dinner, maybe Riker and Troy's wedding. But I'd have been here for weeks, literally weeks, trying to determine which scenes I'd pull in. So I decided to take the easy option for the sake
Go.
of getting
Oh,
an
let's pick
episode
something else.
out and just cut them entirely. What about your honourable mentions, Ben?
Um, so I just want to generally mention Miles O'Brien, Keiko, and his children, but I want to make a special mention to Kira Nerys being part of that, who is carrying their son, and
I forgot
it's,
about that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that was great. And I've got two scenes in my head that are semi-related, and one's a conversation with her and Goza Cut saying, and Goza Cut going, "Oh, um, it was the first minister she was in. I think a relationship was in at the time. It's like, he's such a lucky man. Oh, this is not his. This is Chief O'Brien's." And walking into the lift, and even go to cuts like gobsmacked
uh-huh.
there for a second. It's like, what the heck's going on here? Um, the other one is um, her telling Dr. Bashir that is all his fault. Because of course it's Dr. Bashir's fault, but it is also the character's fault because they were a couple at the time, and that was the reason she's pregnant. So in real life, so
I like
uh,
that. That's a nice
yeah,
little throw in, isn't it?
oh definitely. I just want to make also comments with Luke, Uncle Owen, there, including meeting up with C3PO and R2D2. Um, I just could not justify that there because I just don't like the dialogue, to be honest. But generally,
Yeah.
it's
I'll tell you
still
what.
a good family man.
I'll tell you what, though, it all came back to me. Just earlier yesterday, I came across the Lars Homestead in Star Wars Outlaws. So
Oh, cool.
I had a little explore around, and then I just stood and watched the twin suns rising, and forgot to get a screen grab, so I'm gonna have to do that again. But it was just lovely, and it reminded me of the original series and of Luke's time at that homestead. It reminded
Okay.
me of that scene with Owen and Brew holding Luke as a baby at the end of episode 3, and that sort of family bit as well. Yeah, it was almost a little emotional.
Yeah, and what I'm just suddenly thinking about, because I was going to mention Seven and her parents, but was Seven actually thinking about it? Because I've had her as my top, one of my, if not the top, my top mother, one of my top five mothers, and that was her and all Icheb and all the Borg children
Yeah.
uh, there. It was that was a good little family there as well. Should we really mention the scores here?
I think Star Trek might have won.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is our biggest score. I think we've had a couple of, definitely had like 7-3s. I think we may have had an 8-2, but I'm not sure. But a 9-1 is our biggest.
That's
margin of.
almost a Star Trek clean sweep.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if it's the biggest margin, but yeah, it's the nearest we've had to having a clean sweep, and that is the lowest score from one side, excluding our honourable, our two specials.
Yeah.
So
Well, there
wow.
you go.
Yeah. No, I totally love doing this, and can I just say thank you for watching? But first of all, before you all click off, Olympus, where can we find you?
So you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at Olympus0511. I've started putting some content up on YouTube again at last. Woo! So please check that out. At the minute, it's quite Star Wars oriented with the release of Star Wars Outlaws, which I am absolutely loving. But there will be more going up on there soon. Ben, where can we find you?
So you can find me on YouTube at TrekWars and Fantasy. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're here already. Just click on my name below, or any of the things that come up at the end. That would be appreciated. Thank you. And we're also have this on Spotify and Apple Podcast under Duels Across the Stars. I also have a TikTok, TrekWars and Fantasy. I also have a streaming on Twitch at TrekWars and Fantasy, and you can find me on Twitter at TrekWars Fantasy, because there's not enough letters to have the and I have not said that for ages. So um,
It's about time.
keep an eye out. Yeah, no. Generally, I'm having a rethink of how the YouTube channel is going at the moment, but you'll definitely find at the moment lots of content there for Star Trek and Star Wars gaming. This couple of Star Trek adventures, things that or even we've done occasionally. Yeah, there. So please come and have a look, and hopefully there'll be something there for you.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that you can also find me at Trek Central, where I've started writing some articles, all to do with Star Trek. Got a couple of articles up there already, with another couple on the way in the next month or so. So please check me out there.
Definitely, and we'll put some of the stuff links in the comments, as well as there's a video where you've come out, and as well as the rest of the Trek Central team doing their top quotes from Star Trek.
Yes, that was to celebrate Star Trek Day on the 8th of September. That was very fun to do, actually. That was good fun. Especially considering three of us came up with the same quote.
I noticed there was this two of you there. But,
yeah, there was three of us in the end who had the same quote, which just added to it. To be fair, I was
and
pleasantly surprised it was that one, but I won't say which one it is.
yeah,
So you guys can all go look for it.
yeah. So I thought it was going to be the famous one at the end, and may you all live long and prosper, and may the force be with you
May the force be
always.
with you.